I saw God in my own enlightenment and what I learned and how I've changed.
My faith grew in the relationships we built between each other.
I saw God in every child in Mexico.
Every time we would have any type of worship in Mexico especially, I really felt God there with us.
I saw God in the communities, how they would just come together at church and all the problems would leave and it would just be focused on one thing, and that's church.
Coming here, it completely renewed my faith, not only in God, but in people, that people really do care about each other.
Youth in Mission is a program that covers a lot of different things at LSTC, but this specific part is serving Christ in the world. And this is an immersion program where youth come from all over the nation and gather here at Chicago for an immersion, first in Chicago, and then we go to Mexico City, to Texas to visit border ministries, and then back to Chicago to integrate all of the learning before students take that learning home. During this first week, things that we typically do are that we explore the neighborhood of Hyde Park. So that's the first step, is looking at Chicago, its diversity as a city, and right here around the seminary. We also talk about Luther's understanding of vocation. Luther had a very broad understanding of vocation as being not only church professionals or pastors, but vocations in your daily life, vocation as you interact in society, the ways that God calls you to be involved in the world through works of mercy and justice, and then also your involvement in your own congregation or spiritual life. We also talk about Islam. One of the main reasons we do that is because students who are Christians are growing up not just in a culture that is Christian, but multi-religious culture. And so this is a first way to sort of immerse themselves in cross-cultural dialogue and interfaith dialogue.
I love learning, and so the sessions, which may not appeal to everyone else, really appeal to me. I love to learn about different cultures. The Islamic mosque today was amazing.
And knowing that Islam is very, very similar to Christianity, I just feel more comfortable just with my world.
We also have a day of service. Although the program is serving Christ in the world, it's not primarily a program where we build something or do some service project as the primary project of the program, but we do also know that hands-on service is really important to high school students. So one of the things that we do is meet with the Interfaith Youth Corps, which is a group really experienced in bringing Christian and Muslim and Jewish and Buddhist and students of every faith tradition together around service.
I like learning about new religions and like seeing the similarities and differences between the two. And
I think it's good. We should be able to try new cultures without just judging them, without even giving them a chance. We should be able to experience something new.
Well, in Mexico, we met at the Lutheran Center in Mexico City and learned about the realities of life in Mexico versus life in the U.S. and met with different people living on the margins of society there.
The learning was part of the mission, and we learned about the ecological problems and the economic problems and the it sounds weird to describe that as mission, but I think connecting that with our faith was really the mission.
The kids that we saw, that were there. They ran around and were having fun and just enjoying life, even though they had so little. And we have so much that we say that we're bored all the time, even with how much we have, and then they have so little and they can keep themselves entertained and always having fun.
It was basically scraps that the people had from the government, but the community came together as one, and so they made things work with what little they had.
Before coming on this trip, going to Mexico, I was just like, okay, we're going to Mexico, but like getting there, I knew nothing that was going to happen. I knew nothing about Mexico. I just knew it was there. So it kind of made me mad at myself, and getting there, it was like, okay, I see this and I see that, and it made me wonder, made me think, made me wish I knew more before I got there.
Then we headed to Texas, and this was a new part of the experience for us, visiting through our partnership with the Lutheran Seminary program in the Southwest, visiting congregations that are right along the border. For example, the border at Laredo, where just the river, the Rio Grande, separates the U.S. and Mexico. And we visited with ministries that offer compassion to people who are in really dire circumstances along that river. We also visited churches in other communities that are a little distance from the U.S.-Mexico border.
We saw a lot of influence from Mexico, and just like the whole border issue became really important there.
We just like connected what we learned in Mexico back to the United States and immigration.
We learned more about mostly the immigration problems, and we got to see again how happy they were to be alive.
In the very beginning, people are coming together from so many different places, and they're bringing all of their stories of what their life is like at home, and they're all so different, and they're wondering, what is this going to be like? And it's really hard to prepare yourself for something that's going to be an immersion.
The biggest impact was how I realized how I took a lot of stuff for granted, like just running water, clean water, and just expecting to be in your house every day, having a home to go to.
It's a completely different experience to go and just be with people, to find out about different cultures and to open yourselves up to new truths.
This program just helps open just kids in high school's eyes to what's really out there.
I'm really passionate about going out into the world, and this kind of program is exactly what I feel like I want to do in my life.
It exposes youth, young adults, to things that they weren't ever aware of, or things that they're not sure of, or things that they feel they need to experience in order to get closer to God. I
Knew so very little before this program than I do now, and I think people in my community and people in my friends' communities and the communities of the world need to know this, and they don't have the resources. They don't want to know it. Some don't want to know it, and I think that programs like these are the ones that are going to better the world.
This program is put together really intentionally to push people to look at their life critically and also with gratitude, and to have their vision expanded, and to give opportunities to grow in faith and to grow in relationship with God and other people in the body of Christ.
God calls us all. He doesn't just call preachers. We need some helping hands.